Also,
Wunderbar.
you want to speak English?
I would like to
for
make it
for
in
the video.
for the audience. Yeah.
So your name is Enrico.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And you are a musician, producer,
Composer. Yeah.
and you are from, let me say it right, Marino.
I was born in Marino. It's a small town very close to Rome, like 20 kilometers away from Rome in Italy.
And you grew up there?
Yeah.
For how long?
So I lived there until my 25th year.
Okay. So you do school there?
Yeah. I attended the school there and the university, so the music university I attended in Rome.
Yeah.
Because the big one is there. But I spent my first 25 years actually not in Marino. Marino is only the place where I was born.
So it's like a small, like a cafe next to.
Yeah, so I think around maybe 20,000 people. But my actual hometown is Ciampino. That's in the middle between Marino and Rome.
Okay.
Marino belongs to the Roman castles. It's like the landscape in which the ancient cardinals from the Roman Church used to have their villas, or in the ancient Rome, the noble people had their properties there. Yeah. So that's why it's called the Roman castles. Mm-hmm. And I used to live in the middle in Ciampino. It's a pretty young, small town. So I think the first big movement was around the beginning of 20th century. And that's why it's also a place full of people coming from other parts of Italy. There's a lot of people from the south, a lot of people from other regions in the middle of Italy, people who moved just to work and to build something in Rome during the economic boom, yeah. So in the 60s or end of the 50s.
And that's artists and also rich people in general, investors, everything.
No, I think more workers. Okay. So it's more like
opportunity.
Working class. Working class people is not so a hub for how you say. For investors.
So it's like a upcoming big city back then. Mm-hmm. And may I ask what your parents did for a living, and did they influence you to art, or were your parents artists?
My parents are not artists. They are normal people.
Normal people.
My father is a worker. He used to work for the Alitalia. Alitalia is the Italian flying company. And my mother is studied physics. Mm-hmm. And used to work for a company that's working on radars, so like these kind of things. So there's not music in the life of my parents, but in my family there was a lot of art and a lot of affinity to arts. Also have people in my family who played instruments and still enjoy playing instruments, guitar, drums. I had an uncle, the uncle of my mother was a very, very, very good painter. Okay. He made his living from painting. And the other uncle, he wasn't a musician too, but he really, really, really loved classical music. Okay. Was also the first one who brought me to a concert, a symphonic concert.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
So you're thankful for that, maybe?
I'm thankful for many things, because I think music and arts were very present in my family, even not in a professional form. Yeah. But I remember me like 2 or 3 years old listening to John Lennon, Imagine, or Innuendo by the Queen the whole time, because in the house someone was playing from the recorder, and that's why I also started to sing. I started singing very, very, very early in my life. I was singing the whole time.
Before playing instruments?
Many years before. So like with 2 years ago, 2 years old, I was singing every time. Yeah, I could sing everything.
So that was before you actually got introduced to classic music, right? Or
to music,
or music in general.
Yeah.
And the first instrument you played is a guitar, or am I wrong?
So the first instrument I started seriously was guitar, and still my instrument. I'm a guitarist. But the very first instrument I got like as a gift was actually an harmonica.
Oh, no way, good.
I think I was 4
Amazing.
or I never took it seriously. It's still there, right? I saw it now.
You can combine it with the guitar as well, right?
Yeah, like Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
But then a quite important thing was when I started in the primary school. At a certain point, I had to start playing the recorder, so like the flute, block flute. And that was the moment in which I noticed how easy to me it was to play an instrument. So I really enjoyed trying to play every melody I liked, or catching songs or melodies and then reproducing them on this instrument. And in that moment I was like 8 or 9, or maybe more 9 or 10.
And no one had taught you at that point?
I had, in the school we had a kind of music class, but it was once per week and in group. It wasn't so serious. But I noticed how simple it was to me, just remaking everything, and that was the point. Then came a very magical thing in my life. I still enjoy it because I grew up in a Catholic nation. I'm not Catholic anymore, but tradition. You have to do this first communion.
Yeah.
And it's a big party, so the whole family, you get gifts from any member of the family, and among many clocks and many things I've never used and never worked, there was one cassette recorder.
I see.
The day after this party, I think I had free from school and I could just enjoy staying at home. It was the end of May, it was warm and so. And if you're home alone as a kid, you don't wear any clock you got the day before. But the only thing you can try is this cassette player. And then I took one cassette from my parents, one of the few that they had, because they had mostly CDs. And I put it inside, then I wore my earphones, and then just lying, and came this wonderful guitar arpeggio. And for me it was like a calling. So like something was telling me, this is it. You have to follow this path, and so.
Was that from the inside or from the outside?
Who knows? What's inside and what's outside. I don't know. I only know the final path was inside.
Okay.
But it was, I cannot describe it in a proper way, because it was a real calling. It was like, in this moment, like a huge amount of love is concentrated there and sounds like this guitar. And in that particular moment, I realized, okay, I have to ask for a guitar, but not for now, because I said, I still enjoy playing a lot of football. So 2 more years playing football, and then in 2 years I can figure out I can get a guitar.
That's brave.
Yeah. But it was also the reality, because 2 years later I got a guitar for Christmas, a classical guitar, very normal start for beginners. And from that moment on, there was no way back.
No way back.
No.
Full on. So walk me through the process. You get the calling. You say, okay, 3 more years, and then you start actually. So other people would maybe forget the calling, and it was intense. I can hear.
Yeah.
So you start studying, practicing, taking lessons. Just going, because you could play a bit maybe already, or how was it?
When I got the guitar, I was completely a beginner, so I had no idea, and I had only a very small book in which you had the first chords and so. But the beautiful thing is that my whole first year first and a couple of months, more than 1 year, I just learned guitar by ear. And transcribing or just getting the chords from any Beatles song.
Yeah, just listening
And trying to reproduce, and then maybe 6 months later I got my first songbook by the Beatles. And then I knew the chords, I knew the songs, and then I can say my first guitar teachers were the 4 from Liverpool because and
but I think that's valid. I mean, it's learning by doing, right? At that point, I think.
And back then it was normal to me. But now I'm a teacher, and I know how much effort you need to start that way. Now I noticed it was quite a big work the first year because. But it felt like naturally. So
maybe that's not as easy for everybody, right? I certainly have tried to play the harmonica, and I don't know. I'm probably not spending enough time. It's probably just not enough interest, maybe. But also I think some people learn way better from a teacher, and other people from learning by themselves. That's crazy. You just go all for it, and while learning, you are working on the side or studying, or what happens?
I was 12.
Oh, so just school. Oh, okay. So you just and then you keep playing and playing until you finish school.
After 1.5 years, I got my first lessons. So I got my first teacher, a wonderful teacher, who gave me the first lessons of the proper way to play classical guitar. That was not my main topic, but I'm still grateful because it gave me the proper way to gain a good technique, a good approach to the instrument. And from that point on, lessons, then the first concerts, the first bands, and the first also. I moved then from style to style, from the Beatles, then some more rock.
I'm reading jazz also. When did that start coming in?
Jazz was
a different way, right?
Different, but not so different, because I think my musical path is like Dante's comedy, because I have a lot of Virgil guys who take me per hand and then take me to the next. And the Beatles brought me to this 70s psychedelic rock. Then Jimi Hendrix brought me to jazz, because I also like to study a little bit of the biographies and so. And then Jimmy had this meeting with Miles Davis, and then I read this name, Miles Davis. So I had to check him. And I asked my guitar teacher, can you please grab me a couple of jazz records? Because we are talking about 2004.
That's different. Like
no Spotify, no YouTube.
I was born there.
You were born there.
I was born there.
And then my jazz experience was born like you, as old as you. So it's
I do enjoy jazz as well, actually, but I'm not. I don't know. I think I enjoy listening more than actually understanding and stuff. But so you start as a kid. You play guitar, then you get all those leaders or inspirations following you for different ways, and then you become a composer, right?
It came later.
And it leads you to teaching as well, which is
also.
I think is really. You're doing a circle, no? You had things to follow, and now people are following you as well. And I wrote about your first album, right? So how do you say it?
Sovrumani silenzi. Sovrumani silenzi. Like sovrumani over human silence.
Okay.
Or superhuman silence. It's a quote, actually. It's a quote by one of the most important Italian poets, Giacomo Leopardi. in maybe the most famous poem of him, there's a line with "Sovrumani silenzi e profondissima quiete," and I chose this title for the first album that came when I was 21. Yeah.
You make the album there?
Yeah.
And where did you have a calling for making an album, or is it just something musicians do, or because I feel like some musicians just stay in this playing covers, or some people just keep playing for fun. But where is this does this go back to the listening to the cassette and just staring?
Yeah. I think there is something similar, because in my case, I have to tell the truth.
Yeah.
In my case, is the music not a job intended like something I have to do to make business, because it will be crazy. There's so much other stuff you can make business with, or you can earn money in a simple way. For me, it's like the other way around. I have to live through music because it's the only way that allows me to make music the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's the point.
Yes.
That's the point. And making music for me is not only playing or performing or composing. Is like, in this moment I'm making music with you, because I'm following an energy that's flowing through me, and it's the same energy I notice in this calling moment. And for me, it's the inspiration. And it's the same energy I share with my students, or the younger, the older ones. It's the same. And it's like a biological need. It's not something I can say, okay, now I have holidays from it.
No, it doesn't work. No.
I can have holidays. I can also stay 1 month without touching an instrument. But I bring this energy with me even when
you still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a art living form, right? You always listen to someone on the street talking, and all of a sudden there's maybe inspiration, or you read the poem and you're like, hey, this somewhat matches with what I'm trying to express.
Yeah.
And how has your like sorts of expression like changed? What have you had a big change in emotional like expression? Has that changed a lot over the time? Do you feel like when you were younger it was more wild and maybe rebellious, or has it been the same?
In a very interesting question, because I think when I was younger, even because of my way of living at the times, like many young people, we are not done at that age. No?
Yeah.
So the one has that topic, the other one has the other topic. But in my case, I think the music came also to fill a space that was empty because of something. Everyone has something, and that's why music also helped me to shape my life, even without that part that was missing. And when I think about myself at that time, I think there was a part of myself that was like a rebel, but I think I wasn't strong enough or not good enough at letting it come through.
Okay, were you scared to be judged, or were you
also,
not?
Also, and I was scared also to disappoint people.
Okay.
To disappoint teachers, to disappoint the people I was that were around me. But the interesting thing is that my growth was also a kind of process towards a kind of liberation, and I can say now I feel much more rebel and anarchic than when I was 18 or 16. Yeah. And the interesting thing is that the pandemic also helped me to gain one more level in that direction, because I think we all experienced a kind of surviving mode.
yeah, for sure.
And when you are when you get in touch with your own limits and also with your own fragility, then you also start to give value to parts of yourself that you didn't consider so good before. And that's why I also enjoyed my roughness. I enjoyed my, my dark side, or started to learn to enjoy my dark side. And I think it also came into the music and through the music, and also my simplicity. Sometimes things are simple and has to stay simple. You don't have to overthink. You don't have to overarrange things. And it's interesting because when it comes at a certain point when you are, you did your studies, you are already working, you are already around, you are like a mature man, not a mature artist, because as an artist you gain maturity later, but as a man you're not a teenager anymore.
Yeah.
But that's
for the most of the time.
For most of the time, yeah. But at that point, you can also understand what's the thing that makes you special, and sometimes it comes through taking stuff away, and just to say thank you. Now you can go. I don't need this stuff that's making the things more complex.
Yeah, maybe also getting rid of a facade of being yourself more, maybe at the end of the day, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so and in Italy, in Rome, you did the Exit Orchestra as well.
Also, I was one of the leaders of this big band. Yeah.
So, how do you go from like, what are the steps you do, not necessarily with the orchestra, but from playing or learning and maybe playing some gigs here and there, and then going over to saying I want to be a composer? Like, when does that start in your brain? Like, that's a different world, right?
It can be different. I think it depends on what kind of creative mind you are. I think for a certain period I was more into improvisation. I was. It's interesting. Some time ago I found a paper that was written by my first guitar teacher. I think he filled it when I was 12 or 13, so after my first year. On that paper says he is especially skilled in improvisation.
Okay.
And it was already with 13. So I think improvisation has always been also big fun to me. I started playing in orchestras as a guitarist, so modern orchestras, relatively soon. So I was 17. And when you're in the middle of an orchestra, you have two possibilities. It can be extremely boring, because you're not in the middle. So
not part of it, really.
You are, the guitar is not the most important instrument, or you enjoy this dimension that's much bigger than yourself playing. And that was my case. And I noticed, okay, you can do this wonderful stuff that's even more than what you can achieve through your hands. And then I noticed, okay, I would like to go deeper into it and start learning composition, studying composition. In the same time, happened to me something quite interesting. I had a car accident, and it was quite bad, and I'm believing it's just a miracle that I'm here. Without any injuries. I was totally... but I had this experience of going so close to death. And it didn't depend on myself, because in that case it was completely because of the other person that just came.
Yeah, that's nearly the worst, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I was confronted with the idea of, okay, I have no controls. I can pay as much attention as I will, but if from the other side is coming something else.
Yeah, man.
I am just, I can just hope in luck, and in that moment I was very lucky. But one of the first thoughts I had was, okay, but what would have been happening if I die now? Which music could they hear from me? And then in that moment I started thinking about the need to compose.
Okay.
So it's interesting that my deep need to compose is very related to this death experience, or this almost death experience.
Yeah, maybe it reactivated the need of having something finished, you know.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes an artist's biggest fears have creating some things, like small things here and there, but never having a thing they have done. Yeah, that's crazy with the guitarist and making that happen. Shit, man. And then you go, you play in the orchestra, and when do you do the step to Germany?
Yeah, the step to Germany is also a product of a calling. Because
good.
Yeah,
this is really good, man. I think.
Yeah.
If you can see that also, that it's calling.
Yeah. I see it completely, because starting from the Beatles, I always knew that, okay, Great Britain, maybe US are for this kind of music, for pop, and so then coming into jazz, you have to make an experience there. And I also almost had an opportunity to study in the US in Berklee College of Music.
Yeah.
But I didn't get the full amount of money to do it. That's quite difficult for American universities.
Yeah.
But it gave me the impulse. Okay, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. It was July 2006. In December, with the school, we came to Berlin for a school trip.
Yeah, just a trip.
And in March, we already visited London. It was quite a rich period of travels. And London, I was in love with London, because how can you not, as a Beatles fan, you cannot. Yeah. But something was not calling me.
To London. Yeah,
but that's something, I found it something in Berlin. These 5 days in Berlin in December, so it was not in the summer. It was
in the shit.
It was, it was quite cold, but also sunny. I remember a couple of sunny days. And in Berlin, I thought, okay, here there is something I have to go deeper in, because something is calling me here. I need an energy. I see, I don't know, even a kind of ugliness of some parts of the city.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot, man. Yeah.
But they had a kind of attractivity. And I saved this information in my head. I said, okay, Berlin is a place I'm related to. And then when I finished my first cycle of studies in Italy, then I thought, okay, now I would like to live this experience abroad, and not during. In the same moment when I started my first cycle, my bachelor, I also started learning German. Because I thought, okay, it's something more than only music, it's something more than only business. For me, it's something that has to deal with the culture. I want to go deep in the culture, and I want to learn German. And then I did it parallel to my studies, and then I started coming back and forth to Germany, so sometimes 1 week, 3 weeks, language course, concerts, and so, until the moment in which I could apply for a master here, and I did it, and then I moved here.
Good, man.
Yeah.
Amazing. And which cities did you do that in? I don't remember from the website, but...
So I came to Berlin because the first time I came just to explore everything. I did everything. Not everything, but a lot of
some things.
A lot of stuff. Yeah. But and it was also the time in which I could apply in many universities and so. At the end, the university where I found my studies was Dresden, the music university in Dresden, where I studied composition, and then I also did the Meisterklasse. That's a kind of musical PhD in Germany, and it's also a university I'm teaching now, because I'm teaching there now. And I stayed in Dresden 5 years long, very nice 5 years. That it was a big opportunity to go in the German society without living yet now in a city like Berlin, in which you can allow yourself not to speak German.
Yeah.
But there in Dresden, I had to learn it, and I'm very grateful for it, because I noticed how deep I could go in many aspects of the German society. And when I speak to friends here in Berlin, I notice that they are still in a kind of tourism mode, because they don't know anything about the nation, about the people.
It's a totally different. I mean, it's just a multicultural place where, you meet more not Germans than Germans nearly in here, right? Depending on where you go, of course. But it's like, I was in Copenhagen earlier this year also, and it's just English everywhere. Like everyone in the cafes is from somewhere else in the world. And it's just people moving there. They don't feel like they immigrate, because they just stay in that bubble of expats or whatever. And when now you're teaching at a university, and do you feel that it limits you in some ways of teaching? Is there a limitation to what you can teach your students? Or because sometimes I have never been to music university, but I feel that some studies might have very narrow frames for what you can teach your students. How is your experience?
My experience, so I had a lot of bad experiences in my studies in Italy, in Germany a few, because I came to Germany when I only had to do the kind of specialization, but the big stuff was done. And I know what it means. For example, I've always been a kind of foreigner in my studies, and not in Germany, in Italy, because as a jazz guitarist, then I studied classical composition. So I was in the middle of.
No one does that.
Very few people. More and more are doing this kind of crossover stuff, because life is now much more
diverse.
And it should be, at least. But still, when I started, it was it was normal. The teacher didn't understand what was my job in the moment. And as a jazz musician, I was already performing a lot and recording and doing stuff. But in my composition class or in my piano class, and so I was the beginner who does music that's not so important in comparison to classical music. When I go back to jazz and I try to bring some mentality or some skills from the classical world, it sounds strange, because what is it? Then came the electronic music, and it's a world for itself, but like any discipline, it can also relate to other stuff. But if you are in that world, you have to speak an own language. That's not the language of jazz, it's not the language of classical music, it's not the language of pop sometimes, and I'm always the foreigner, but I enjoy it. I enjoy to bring stuff and then to
explore
and then to shape my thing that's a product of all of these words. But the frame, or the narrow frame you were talking about, was something that I really felt anytime I was trying to express myself in the most complete way. But there was no context that could accept myself at all. Until now, almost until now.
Becoming better. And when you are teaching, do you feel like you're trying to also somewhat inspire your students to go out of the frame? Especially now where maybe the frame is more wide, but there's still probably a lot of opportunities, right?
In the academy, they are still very conservative.
Oh, really?
The old generations, it depends also from nation to nation, from city to city, from academy to academy, but generally, people who are 60 plus and are, teaching now, maybe coming from the Russian school, classical music, or they cannot understand sometimes the whole reality of our time, what in this case. One thing I have also to respect rules in the academy. I cannot just teach my philosophy of music.
Of course.
But as long as I teach, for example, music theory or ear training or arrangement or composition, so they are matters that pretend to be quite general. I always suggest my students to try to keep as much as possible from the most different things they are now studying in the academy, because at their age, between 18 and 25, you can just, collect so many skills and informations. And nowadays, the music world is changing every 2 or 3 years dramatically, and it's gonna be more and more. It means we have to think about studying or refreshing our skills the whole life long.
And trying to understand.
To understand and to reinvent yourself and to be creative also in that sense. And as bright, if you have a very a large field of tools, then you have more opportunities to combine and to learn stuff even after years or decades after the studies.
Maybe even to create your own subgenre or whatever it ends up being, right?
And
eventually.
And to speak, that's also a very important thing, to speak with other cultures. So not staying in your own culture, but trying to find a medium between yourself and someone who's making music from another culture, I don't know, not European culture.
I was gonna ask you, do you think music is the strongest, maybe not language, I think for sure, but also art form? Do you think music is on is there a ranking of strong art forms, and where do you see music in like strength of connection wise, for example?
I don't think there's need to make a ranking, because it also depends on how gifted you are. So if a certain guy has a talent for writing poems, should write poems, or painting, should paint. I think music as an expression can be extremely powerful. First of all, because music is, in the end, is an abstract art form. If you take only music without lyrics, there's no meaning beside the thing or behind the things you are listening to, but it can still move people. It can still bring, at the same time, the highest joy and the deepest sadness.
Yeah, we feel the frequency, right?
Yeah.
It goes into us literally, man. Yeah.
I think the fascinating thing about music is that the structure of the central phenomenon of music, the sound, seems to be quite similar to many aspects of the structure of matter and universe and theory of strings, these all things. It seems like a very interesting translation of the structure of the universe or structure of matter can be found in the ways how sound works, and music is the language of sound.
And I'm certainly not an expert on the field, but I also recall seeing some places that animals actually enjoy music as well, right? And feel more relaxed. Even they do studies on that too. So, I mean, if you put a painting in a pit with cows, maybe they don't react as much as if they listen to music, right? Because the frequency actually, it's there. You can really see it, or feel it, and they can hear it. And I'm wanting to ask you about your view on AI and music.
Yeah.
And are you using it, or do you think it's scary? Do you think it's good? What's your view on that?
So I'm not using AI at all, even to ask questions like how old was George Washington when he died. So I still use Wikipedia or maybe also AI without knowing it. But anyway, I don't use.
You cannot control that, right?
I cannot control it. Anyway, no, I used it once to make something musical, but it was one of the basic things you can do nowadays. Like I was sampling something for a composition of mine, and I needed a drum track, an already recorded drum track, and there is a very easy app that can isolate one instrument from a more complex recording, and then I took this sample, because I wanted that sample. It was important to have that one and that
yeah.
And that's the only time until now I've used AI for a creative purpose. My opinion about AI, for me, so I see myself as an optimist, because I see a lot of big opportunities behind the whole process between mankind and AI. For me, they are like the same opportunities we have always had in the dialogue with technology and technique. Even the atomic bomb has given us a big opportunity.
Yeah, it's a tool, right?
But the opportunity, I know it sounds a bit crazy what I say, but the biggest opportunity that humanity had in the moment in which science or technology achieved this big weapon, this opportunity was the opportunity of not using it.
Yeah, controlling it, understanding it maybe.
Also not using it. So I think, it's easy to do the simple thing in that moment. The simplest thing is, he was bad to me, now I am allowed to be bad to you, because it's like a circle of hate and a circle of... The most difficult thing is to stop this circle.
Yeah, and the weakest man screams the loudest.
Yeah. And I think that even that time, 1945, we had as humanity, or the few who were in that process, had the opportunity to decide not to use it. And I think every time that mankind takes a decision, achieves the highest level of its potential.
Yeah.
Now I decide not to use it. I have it. I could do it.
Yeah.
But I decide not to use it. And I think the same procedure we are gonna learn. I don't know if we have learned it with atomic bomb. Every day can be.
We don't know.
Contradiction to this.
Yeah, of course.
But
for now, it's.
For now, I don't know.
Semi okay, maybe.
Let's see. But
it could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be way worse. For now already, I think so. Yeah.
But with AI, I think now we are in the middle of something very confusing.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest problem is not the AI, but the amount of power, of technological power in very few people. That's the problem.
And governments.
And companies. And that's the thing that doesn't let me sleep well sometimes. But I think maybe we will experience a shock. I don't know what kind of shock. But I think that after that, we will start a very interesting dialogue and process to learn from the AI also who we really are.
Yeah. So, because I also for some time thought that maybe we are gonna go through AI like sometimes I see it like a crisis, man, like a human unhuman crisis of technology, because we just had COVID. Probably it's gonna get cancelled on YouTube now, the video, because you cannot say the word. Anyhow,
COVID.
Yeah, for some time you couldn't do it and they would not like it. Anyway, we had that time, right? and then AI comes all like it pretty much the same time it ends. AI starts, and we just forgot for 2.5 years, maybe 3 years, who we actually were, and now something else is trying to be better than us. I feel it. Either we adapt or we get lost even more in this process. I think, and that's a big decision, man. Not to choose it. I think, but it's a strong approach, like you said yourself.
It's. I think it challenges our consciousness.
Yeah.
And it's all a matter of consciousness. That's why I think I'm grateful to the fact that we are going to experience this dialogue or this dialectic or this conflict. I don't know. Because at the end we will learn more about the meaning of life.
Yeah, and being scared of it doesn't help either, right? Someone needs to explore it.
Yeah, but I think being scared is the first reaction. It's normal.
Yeah.
I'm scared because if you listen to the first AI band that releases a single or an album and it sounds like human, okay. But try to think about the first painter who saw a photograph. Well, nowadays they're still painting.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, let's be totally crazy. Maybe in 20 years you will have a robot playing a guitar in a restaurant or something, right?
Yeah.
Like to be half honest, actually, I think that's gonna happen. But I think people are still gonna want to see you play, man, because they can see you, they can feel you. There's just a difference in. I have that already. It's like when you go to a restaurant where they have the self-service thing, and you go to the counter. The interaction is, for me, it's a totally different reaction, and I can just not imagine even someone. Let's say someone going to a flower shop and buying flowers. They are super happy and they interact with the person selling flowers. They ask them, what are you going to use them for, and there's like warm love coming back and forth. I'm. Right now, I don't think that's gonna happen with robots. They cannot replace that, but who knows, right?
When I was in Los Angeles, I saw something quite scary. I saw a robot bring in the how do you say, einkaufen,
grocery,
the shopping, to someone.
Yeah.
So it was like
delivery
robot. But it was like the Star Wars robots,
and it's definitely it's definitely gonna come. I just think there's still this aspect, like you said, someone's still gonna paint and someone still wants are painting from a real person.
Yeah.
There's still this made by human kind of idea, I think.
And I say one thing more. It was a couple of months ago with a student of mine. We were just preparing the exams and so. And then he had to bring something. He had to bring like an arrangement of jazz standards for for a small formation. And he said he had to reharmonize the tune. Reharmonize means you have to choose new chords for the same melody.
Okay.
It's a technique. It's an arrangement technique. And then he said, I could ask ChatGPT just to find the chords Bill Evans would have chosen. Bill Evans is one of the most important jazz pianists. And then someone asked, and what if we do it? I said, do it. Bring me the harmonization or the reharmonization made by the AI. Do you know what you will miss? You will miss the pleasure to do it.
Yeah.
And that's another important point. That's a point in which I see a high potential for arts in the next time for humanity. Art not only as a performance, not only as a product, not only as something you experience from here watching the genius or the artist somewhere up there, but the art as something you have to experience. So making art will become more important than buying or consuming art.
Yeah, or the art itself, right?
Because art is something that's important for the human soul.
Yeah, it's a process.
The process, the making. That's why I told you the ranking is not important, because if you are not made to make music, you don't have to feel frustrated because now I can. There's nothing that can be healthy for my soul. No, maybe poem writing is healthy for your soul.
Yeah.
Maybe repairing chairs is also kind of
art. DIY art, something like that. Yeah.
But I think the human soul needs creativity, needs this connection to the flow, because at the end, creativity is the thing we always projected on something divine.
Yeah.
And it means that we take it as something divine that can be in ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I see a big potential in this shift from product, from hierarchy, to something that has to be made by normal people. If you are going to live in a world where AI or robots are going to work for us, then we have two opportunities. The first scenario is we are slaves from, the few people who control this stuff will be our masters. But the second one is humanity has to stay together and has to develop itself, create something and enjoy any other aspect of life beside not the work as creative work or as activity, but the work as production, the work as
staying alive.
Yeah.
Okay. So considering all that, I have those 3 questions I ask everyone.
Yeah.
And the first one would be, what does art mean to you? Mm-hmm. Just if you had to feel something, what do you think about? What do you feel when you think about art?
When I think about art, I think art is like the window that's always opened to a dimension that connect us at the same time to our childhood, to the playful time and the playful environment we used to live, and also connects us to a dimension that's beyond life and death, to a dimension that's beyond our limited existence on this planet as a body. So for me, this is art. And this is art at the same time when you are in the position of someone consuming or observing art, or someone who's making art. I think both of the perspectives are good to enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. I mean, there's the observing art is or interpreting art is often totally different than the intention of the person who creates it, and I think that makes it even more special, right? Somewhat. And if you had to not necessarily narrow down, but somewhat conclude what makes someone an artist.
What makes someone an artist? I think what makes someone an artist is the highest love for questions without needing any answer. Because I think even scientists at the end would like to have an answer. But for me, I don't need an answer. And any big artwork I can from artists and so on is still delivering questions. That's why we still enjoy the Mona Lisa. We still go and listen to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. We are still enjoying, I don't know, films by Stanley Kubrick or even by Charlie Chaplin. And so they are old. They are older than the iPhone.
Yeah.
But you watch it every Christmas, because they're still delivering questions.
Yeah, you need to, especially considering making it interesting for people, you want to erase questions and not tell them the whole story, right?
Yeah.
You want people to wonder, and I came across it also with pictures on a YouTube video or whatever it was, and I was like, have more like dark and shadow, like the tip was to have more shadows and more darkness than actually light, because people are drawn to finding out what they actually are looking at, what am I seeing, and it's way more dramatic, right? And that can be beautiful in a beautiful way and in a dark way as well, of course. So you would say an artist is someone who unanswerfulness questions.
Answers are not important at all.
Yeah. It's just this process of trying to experience, maybe.
Yeah.
And do you think an artist has to put his work out into a museum or a small cafe? Does it have to be exhibitioned, or can it just be in a drawer here and no one sees it?
I think, as human beings, we are social beings, so it's not important how big, how much, but our nature is to communicate.
Yeah.
So even if you only want to show your paintings to your sister or to the woman you love or to the man you love, it's already something important. And I think no one wants, maybe there is some Dorian Gray here that just use a painting to mirror himself and to mirror his own ego. No, but I think the human being needs communication, needs exchange, needs.
Even if they maybe are afraid of it or don't seek it.
Yeah, but being afraid is already a process of sharing.
That's true. So. And eventually someone is gonna see it, right? Like I would say, right? If it's stored somewhere, someone is gonna see your art or listen to it eventually, even if it's just for a split second.
Yeah.
I like that view. It's very interesting to hear a lot of different views from people when talking, and I think that's really good. So for the last question, to wrap it up a bit, it is if you had to think a second about it, also take your time.
Yeah.
So if your inner voice had a message to the world, what would it say?
I could give many different answers, also quite ironical, but better not. So I think something to say to the world. Know yourself. And don't stop getting to know yourself better and better.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure to me.
And let's take some pictures.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. It was really good.